I understand when people say that, you have an altruistic person, he becomes the leader of a socialist country, but then he loses power, he moves on, and somebody else nefariously comes in and changes all the methods there and uses all the centralized power for bad, not good. You want to say something about that, Don, really briefly, and then we'll go right to Joe Biden. We have one small section left. We got to show Joe Biden he was received nicely in Hawaii. But what do you say to people that too much central power is bad, and that's why socialism is bad?
Well, I agree that centralized power is, in essence, alienated power. I mean, power should be in the hands of the people. As you know, a Marxist, power should be in the hands of the working class. You have the conditions to deal with that you have to deal with when like today, what's the world like? What do I do to protect socialism? And what exactly is the most essential part to make sure we keep? And then what do I got to adjust in order to stay here? This look at Venezuela. Okay. Mm-hmm. First, Hugo Chavez arises and makes all these changes, democratizes the entire political process, writes a constitution with the people. I can't go through the whole thing. We don't have time for that, but makes major changes. And he is resisted every bit of the way and condemned every bit of the way by the West, including the attempted coup in 2002, where they almost killed him. Then he dies. I won't even go there. And Nicolas Maduro becomes president. All of a sudden, the line, and you see these people like floating to the top like they would in a cesspool. Hugo Chavez was a hero, and Maduro is no Chavez. He's greedy, he's petty, he's stupid, he's this, he's that. This is the formula that they used with Stalin, by the way. If you look at characterizations of Nicolas Maduro and then Western characterizations of Joseph Stalin, they say the same thing. He was crude. He's an ignorant peasant. He's power hungry and mad, and on and on and on. And is actually an anti-revolutionary. He is a betrayer of the vision of Hugo Chavez or of Lenin. This is the the PR crap that they dish out. So there's whenever you have power, alienated from people and placed in a repository somewhere, whether it's the state, whether a monopoly, whatever it is, there are people that will gravitate towards that and say, aha, that's where it is. I'm going to get it. And you have to watch that. But the task of a revolution, and if there's a vanguard, without going into that too much, is to teach the people how to deal with that. And so, it's one thing if the state is powerful. The real question is, who owns the state? If the state is powerful and the people own it in real terms, I don't mean, oh, well, here's a deed to the state, but it's being managed by Bob. I'm talking about if the decisions are actually made in one fashion or another by the people, then there's not a problem with that. You're going to have a struggle. And look, you mentioned it before. All right, I'm a Marxist. I'm a communist. To me, the end game, quote unquote, at least the next phase that I'd like to get to, the state withers away. The people conduct their business without the need for coercive measures because they know what to do. We have all kinds of assistance, whether it's machines or whatever the hell comes after machines, to help rationalize production and minimize, the effort put in by human beings to produce the necessities and even luxuries of life, whatever that whole process is, I'm for that. And I believe that at some point in time, you won't need something that we call a state right now. But, Libya, for example, didn't have a state like that. It really wasn't. It was a government of the people. And what happened when it was attacked was you had basically a couple militias fighting back and NATO bombing the shit out of the country for 7 months from March to October 20th. And it collapsed. If you're going to survive in a hostile world, you got to be able to take care of yourself. Your father probably told you that when you were a kid. Mine did. My father said to me before I go to the playground, some kids are going to want to beat you up. What are you going to do about it? I don't know. Well, you better figure it out because they're going to do what they want with you otherwise. That's
Yeah.
the same situation that people are in after a revolution. You think the bad guys are going to go away? You think it's going to be
No.
Jubilee? That's when they're going to fight the hardest. When they're wounded almost fatally, they're going to try to rip your throat out. What's
Yeah.
your strategy?
Yeah.